Yes, yo, rise and praise, infidels. That's right. Early morning here on the front lines of the wrestling wars. It's Hacker Hameen and MSG ready to light it up and tear it down on AEW Dynamite. The Young Bucks back. Well, grab your shit bag because it's a colonoscopy for all you morons. Here for Dynamite Review, like the fuse, channelattitude.com. YOLO. Pump that shit.
You rapist!
What's going on?
Light them up, get them going early in the morning, man. Here, twitch.tv.
We're ready.
That's right. Twitch.tv/Hameen Media, Bin Hameen YouTube channel, and as always, channelattitude.com for the hardcore subscribers. Yeah, man, it's going down right now. Another huge day at Ravens Joint. Wednesday, you think Wednesday is going to be quiet, and it's a record Wednesday. And at the same time, I got 9 vendors delivering yesterday, so we're stocked up for the weekend with all great new product. And then can't get out of here, get home, and watch Dynamite after from 10 to midnight. Back up and on the road 6 a.m. to get back here so I can hang and bang with you, Maddie. Another big day. We're getting our delivery vehicle today.
Nice.
Start delivery hopefully by maybe as soon as this weekend. So yeah, it's crazy, dude. I've got probably 3 or 4 big meetings, to expand Ravens Joint and what we can do with delivery or events at concerts and stuff soon. So I'm working hard. My partners are working hard, and business is picking up at the store. So things crazy right now, man. But hey, we got to get it in. It's pro wrestling. It's HMG. It's Bearcat country out here. Shout out to all the Bearcats. Missing you guys on the self-help group watch-alongs. I hope we can get it back together again sometime soon. But right now, I'm just hitting on all cylinders, man, and trying to make big things happen. So I appreciate you guys understanding. And Maddie, appreciate you getting up early in the morning, man, to come hang and bang and do this.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I was gonna say I'm excited to talk, AEW. I'm mildly excited to talk AEW. Of course, every week I'm more excited to do this show, recap and talk wrestling with you. I know we want to punch in and punch out, but something I did forget to bring up when we were talking on the Monday Locker Room last week. Did you get a chance to see all the controversy with the Jim Cornette thumbnail that was hitting the internet?
No, see, I don't know what that is. I thought I saw a reference to it, but I don't know. I'm not really sure. I did see the AOC and the other broad's AI bikini shot. That was A+.
Well, for those who missed it, while doing a recap or for last week's AEW Dynamite with Swerve Strickland, a thumbnail was put out which just shows Swerve Strickland regularly, but Jim Cornette is in the form of a gorilla, and Kyle Fletcher is a cotton Q-tip. So there's been a lot of inference that regards to they were making fun of, or they were I guess referencing Swerve being black, Cornette being a gorilla. I'm not quite sure what the whole. I mean, Jim was the gorilla, and people are upset about it. Like he's the one controlling the black guy with the Q-tip or something. I don't know what the whole controversy was, but essentially, Jim Cornette in a gorilla outfit with a black guy on his thumbnail. Everyone freaked out over the internet this last couple of days, calling Jim Cornette a racist and Brian Last a racist because of the choice of cartoon they were using.
Okay.
Even though he was, I guess Cornette was talking about like Mighty Joe Young. He was more referencing the movie.
Yeah.
Or something like
So
that.
there I was just about to say, I haven't listened to the clip. I haven't seen the thumbnail, but based on past clips that I have listened to, it's something. The thumbnail is usually something Cornette references in the clip, not like it's like this is homage to something bigger, you know what I mean, on that level. It's kind of like the ridiculous of what he's talking about, and a Mighty Joe Young reference now makes much more sense why they would do that than anything Because as soon as you do, and this is just woke culture looking to fucking light themselves on fire any way possible. If you put African American anybody in a primate and anything together, it doesn't matter. Like you've just fucking, open that can of worms for all the fucking. What are they doing? They don't even know what the fuck the clip is about, right? They just think one thing, then they hear Southern accent, and they go racist. Now he's made other accusations about driving across Ethiopia for chicken or some shit. So I don't, these are old cliches and tropes that were, the norm in the 80s and 90s, especially in that Memphis territory region. And there's definitely underpinnings of bad taste, racist comedy in there. Cue the Baca hit. So I can see the short-sightedness of what people are like. What, he's racist? There's something with a white guy who's a Q-tip, a gorilla, and this guy's Southern. Like, they just instantly go off on it. But I can understand that based on what I've seen in the past, that almost all those thumbnails are based off of some story or some comedic, satirical comparison that he usually is talking about. Because much like when Russo gets the names wrong, his audience loves it when he comes up with, other monikers for wrestlers that are some arcane reference to something.
Now, I'm not defending any of this, guys. I'm just giving you the context. This is apparently from somebody who wrote on the internet. I guess Travis is the guy who does the artwork for Jim Cornette and Brian Last.
Okay.
Somebody pointed out that Travis only does the artwork out of things that Jim says. He doesn't just decide, I'll compare a black person to an ape, which isn't even what he was doing.
Jim's the ape, right? Jim's the ape in this. So everyone's just a fucking asshole.
Yeah, this is apparently the ape is a reference to the movie Mighty Joe Young. He offhandedly compared Fletcher, the white guy, not Swerve, to Mighty Joe Young for some reason. So Travis drew Jim as a gorilla. So now everybody thinks it's racist to portray Jim as a gorilla because Swerve was in the thumbnail, and they don't care that it wasn't even Swerve when you explain it to them. They will not have it. They are determined to say that no image of an ape can be around a black person, even if the reference has literally nothing to do with them. Then, perhaps even more ridiculous was the Q-tip controversy where he called Fletcher, again, the white guy, not Swerve, a Q-tip with arms and legs, pointing out how skinny he was. So Travis drew him as a Q-tip, and everybody started going off about black people and cotton.
Shit, 2 for Tuesday. I wasn't even thinking about Q-tips and cotton, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So that was what the controversy was around. I haven't listened to the clip, so I'm not quite sure. And again, I'm not going to throw my name in the hat here.
Me neither, but this all
fire.
It almost seems like the perfect storm for this poor thumbnail producer. You know what I mean? He's just trying to do what he usually does.
It's Kaz just on the other side, right?
He's just trying to be a nice guy and do his shit, and here comes fucking the woke culture. And it's probably not even black. Most African Americans or blacks who are really upset about it. It's somebody virtue signaling and fucking like calling it out, right? So, yeah, it's comedic. It's a comedy of errors, right? I think more than anything. So,
well, there's some.
It's like there's an improv game called "What Could Possibly Go Wrong Now," which inevitably always ends with some impending asteroid about to destroy the Earth. But you start at one very simple place of you're pouring coffee and fucking you burn your hand, and into what could possibly go wrong now. And you just keep hiding and exploring it until the asteroid finally comes. But that seems like they're kind of caught in the middle of that right now, dude.
Well, hopefully you guys aren't caught in the middle of deciding whether or not Hami Media Group is worth the $5 a month. So go ahead and sign up right now, channel92.com. We get the Monday locker room, the Wednesday locker room, the Friday locker room sometimes, but you will get the Impact Attack, the Next Level review, the Collision review, the Wreckage with Jimmy T and the Vet. You'll also get the Pro Wrestling Reflection podcast, this podcast, Smack Attack, and so much more. Go ahead and check out channelattitude.com as well as sign up russosbrand.com, $5 a month there as well. You can also get the Raw and SmackDown review with Ben and Stevie Richards. Castrating the Marks, Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Head and more. Or if you just want it all one package from Russo, go to patreon.com/RussoTWC. And while you're there, sign up for Master Shoot Theater. I mean, there's tons of stuff going on in Vince's world. He just pulled out a bunch of money. Who knows what he's going to do? Find out on Master Shoot Theater.
This week he was giving out hats and for the draft and giving long hugs, like weird long hugs.
Oh my goodness. All right, well, let's talk about AEW wrestling, because as Ben has pointed out before we went live, he's got to punch in, punch out. He's got a lot of things going on here. He might be getting a car. Who knows what's going on at Ravens
definitely
joint.
getting a car today. I got to meet with some other people to hopefully start a partnership and collaboration. So that's coming up here in 50 minutes pretty much. So we got to get in, get out. Interesting show last night. I haven't seen much from the dirt sheets aside from the continuation of Tony Khan's media ineptitude sometimes, I guess, like having to break down the Meltzer driver, and now they call it the Tony Khan driver.
The TK driver. TK.
Yeah, dude. Like, if you took it, you should be hurt and put out and not sitting there selling and explaining plot on a fucking sports show that's supposed to be a shoot sports show, and now we're trying to work it. It was just it's not a good look, really. But we're in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I hate Winnipeg. Shout out to the weaker lands. But all those sap-sucking Canadian cant infidel morons up there. They were a hot crowd, and it's Kenny Omega's homecoming, Don Callis' homecoming, so I was interested to see what they do. One thing that really stuck out to me last night, you paid top dollar for where is Mercedes Moné in anything?
Well, she's on Rampage this week.
Oh, okay. Well, didn't they tape Rampage right afterwards?
They were live right afterwards. They went live. It's 3 hours live on TBS last night.
So I would have fucking had something on the show that says tune in to see her and stick around for Rampage, because Mercedes Moné is going to be the main event.
I didn't do that. Well, let's talk about Dynamite. So the show opens with Tony Khan, as you mentioned, saying he's going to be unable to run the show from the arena, but the clip was cut short by the Young Bucks, who are now backstage in the truck as they play a new intro video for Dynamite. And so it's just a video of the Elite. That was pretty funny. We then went live into the arena. Swerve Strickland makes his way out with Prince Nana, brings up Double Nothing, says he doesn't know who he's going to face him at the pay-per-view. Bucks come on the TV, and they said they are tired of Swerve Strickland. He needs to be humbled. So Christian Cage music hits. He comes out with a patriarchy. Cage attacks Swerve without saying a word, drops him on the title with a kill switch, which, of course, was Swerve's name in Lucha Underground, I believe. And then Nick Wayne even hit Prince Nana with the finisher. Christian promised to win the world title, gives Swerve's daughter a new dad she can be proud of. And then that's how this segment ends. What do you think of this, how this started with Christian Cage not having to cut the promo, just starts right away, right?
That I like. Let me back up, because I like what I got with the Bucks here.
Yeah.
In Gorilla and taking over the show, and like their little monologue kind of addressed all the haters of the internet, and I liked it. And they did it in an interesting way, whether it was like shitting on Jacksonville and technical difficulties, you know what I mean, because the sound sucked last week. So they're referencing it, but they're doing it this week in a different way, that they're in charge and things will go more smoothly, so they hate on Khan a little bit that way. These are good things. They need to turn the volume up on that. And Nick Jackson, I love their two-person scene work. I mean, I get they're brothers and they know each other timing-wise, but even though Nick starts and gets a little good cop, bad cop, like everything they do is tongue-in-cheek, right? Like, even though they are, I don't know what you'd kind of talk, like what you'd call that smarmy, false talking that they do. I almost can't label it. You know what I mean? But we know it's all only on the surface.
It's almost Beverly Hills 90210 kind of chat, right?
Yeah, it's on the surface bullshit, right? So you really know what the underpinnings are with how false they are. of what the truth is. And it's an interesting game to play out. But even when they office for swearing on the on the show, and Nick comes back and goes, "That's a fine."
That's
And like
fine.
he just the way he yes ands and like waits, he waits to get on the beat. There's just some great acting timing that doesn't really get appreciated. And Nick Jackson has always done. You can go through the whole AEW
That's
run.
right. He came out. He came out on Saturday when Swerve cut his promo, and you were using foul language, and that's a
Yeah,
fine.
that's a fine. Like he just like he lets Matt go, and Matt's the A player in the scene, right? But just because you're the B player in the scene doesn't mean you're the smaller person. Usually, you're getting set up to spike the ball, and Matt sets it up, and Nick does that almost every time he's given the opportunity to be the B player who has a one-liner in a scene that grounds it or is really a rim shot type joke. I think that doesn't get said enough about those guys, and in this scene, they did really well at that. And we're finally to this point where they tried to be humble for years and not make themselves the bigger picture, right? But now they really probably should have from the beginning. Now we're just kind of starting to do that, and I think they need to turn up the volume on that stuff where they even bait the internet. They could bait the internet every week to go crazy, and then they come back and quantify it with that smarmy language and incorporate it into the show. You know what I mean? Because that's what they did,
Yeah.
to some degree, in this promo tonight. So I liked it.
Yeah, I like that Nick throughout this whole show plays almost like that Ben Stiller Starsky and Hutch. Run the music in 3, 2, 1, go. You know what I mean? Do it. Don't think about it. Just do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they've seemed like Vegas casino managers of like some third-rate casino now. Like, it's an interesting and like I said, they're only scratching the surface. They need to. They're committed to the bit, but they can get more out of it. Is all. The Christian stuff I liked because until he started talking, it's not that I don't like Christian's promo, but it's hard to follow action with words. That's why I say show, don't tell. Well, he came down, looked like he was going to tell, and he showed. Boom, hit him with the mic, got heat on him, beat the fuck out of him, da 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 da. And then we go into a monologue, and you feel the energy come down, even though Christian can deliver, and he's saying stuff that's apropos, I guess. But like, we just saw what you did to him and left him laying. We just needed a stage picture with all of them standing over him, and no words needed to be said. He could have said all that backstage in a follow-up later in the show. Like, let one segment go by, and Mox's wife catches up with him, and that's when he says all the stuff in real time afterwards. But to step on that action was not the right production call, in my opinion.
Yeah, and like I said, apparently I was vindicated here. Kill Switch was his character in Lucha Ground, so I'm assuming we'll probably get some sort of reference here where he'll probably come out as the Kill Switch character at Double or Nothing. I bet.
Yeah, dude, I fucking love that Kill Switch character. That's kind of when I first talked to Swerve, because I wanted to do something with that, because that whoever produced that first intro for Kill Switch, I don't know if you ever saw it,
Lucha,
where he's running through the terrorist camp and shit and just fucking killing everybody. He's got like a helmet on. It was fucking awesome. It was so good that I was like, damn, there's my in to work with this guy, because every villain needs a true id. And what they were thinking of with Kill Switch, of being an ultimate assassin, warrior, whatever, fucking black op weapon. Well, if he shot and missed and it went through a tent in the terrorist camp and killed my daughter or some shit, now my character has a fucking huge id for revenge on this guy, right? And like, off of what they set up in that movie, bro, he and I could have fucking made some unbelievable shit together. And I know he was down to do it for a little while, but then NXT came calling and he was off to the races, and the stars never aligned. But for a couple weeks there, we were kind of fucking like, this could be something, I think. So, like I had just reached out to him, and he was cool and receptive, I guess. But the guy is a grade A talent, I think. And now that he's babyface, the Prince Nana stuff makes more sense. You know what I mean? In what they're trying to do to get it over, because they're trying to force one thing heel while they're doing baby stuff. So, but the guy can get over. There's no doubt, and his fucking athleticism is bar none, really.
Following that, we had our second match of the evening here. We had them. They played a video package explaining, I guess, that House of Black had challenged Christian, or Copeland had given the Cope open. So House of Black accepted and said, though, you don't know which member it's going to be. So we found out right at the entrance that it was Buddy Matthews. I think we kind of all thought it was going to be Buddy Matthews. And Buddy Matthews and Cope had a match. They go back and forth. Result ends up with Cope defeating Matthews. And then after the match, he's standing over Buddy Matthews like he's going to take him out with the chair. Lights go out. Malachi Black ends up in the ring and tells him, do it. Go ahead. Do it. Hit him with the chair. Cope looks like he's going to hit Black, and the lights go out, and they disappear with Adam Copeland in disarray. What did you think of this match and fallout afterwards?
Yeah, man. The fallout afterwards is corny. You know what I mean? But this is why I was never really that huge of an Undertaker fan. I just don't like horror movies, and I don't really like mythic boogie woogie type shit. It just doesn't. It's not me, and I get it. There's a whole genre of people who love it, but it's things like this where I go, ugh. That being said, I think Buddy Matthews has been a great worker for a long time, and he's been in big situations and big matches. So, I mean, whether it was stuff working with Rey Mysterio and all that, he's always kind of been a B or C player in scenes, but he's the guy who's got to deliver in the ring, and he absolutely can, and looks like a stud. I don't really get a huge goth vibe from him, but whatever. But something happened in this match where they did double fly cross. Now, I don't know if they were working this for the finish or if this was a shoot or not, because the way they were checking on it seemed very shoot. He had internal injuries and was spitting up blood. And that's a fucking very dangerous place to be in the ring. Or you bit your tongue and you're spitting up blood. One of those two things happened. You hoped it'd be bite your tongue and not internal injuries and you're coughing up blood. That's real bad. But I've done the tongue bite on a bulldog by not having my mouth closed and almost fucking bit through my tongue like an idiot. So maybe I was thinking maybe it was that. But the way he was holding his stomach, it sure didn't seem like that. Like it was his mouth that he bit his tongue. But then he perseveres on, and they go into the finish, which is Edge's spear. And fucking, if you already got internal injuries, that's a real believable thing. So I'm like, fuck, if they worked that with gimmick blood capsule and that heat, and he was just selling it, that made that finish awesome. Or he really worked it really well, or it's not a work and he's really injured. Either way, it means if he was injured, he said, fuck this. I know how big of a moment this is in our storyline. I don't care if I die backstage. I'm finishing my piece in this right now. You know what I mean? And getting it over as best I can. And when you're out there, it doesn't matter. You shit your pants, you got the flu or whatever, or you're spitting up blood. I'm finishing this shit, especially if it's versus Edge in Canada. That's even though Buddy Murphy's been around for a minute, that's a huge thing on his bucket list, probably to get to say. You know what I mean? And you don't want to have that hanging over you the rest of your career. Like, fuck, I got to work Edge in Canada and I had to fucking get X'd out of the match, So just wrestling perseverance alone, that makes him a fucking warrior. Now, if they did work it, it looked super real, and it made the finish fucking crazy with the spearing a guy who's got internal injuries right now. So I like the match for that effect, but the way Edge carried him to the finish, something was off to me. So I think it might be a shoot. But then all the stuff afterwards, lights up, lights down. You can't do that 3 times in one segment. It loses all its mystique, And for Edge after everything he's been through to have to stand there and go, oh, they're in Edge's head. Like Edge fought the Undertaker, bro. You think
Right.
Aleister Black is doing anything? If Aleister Black really was trying to do the Darth Vader, Emperor Palpatine, strike him down, show me, you know what I mean? Join me is what that felt like right there. And Edge is Luke Skywalker, I guess. So, you know, um, they're trying something storyline wise. You know, I guess
Yeah.
I can't fault them for that. It's just not my cup of tea when it comes to that mythic shit.
Well, following that, they came back from commercial break. Renee was sitting with Adam Copeland, and she asked him if he's okay. And then Kyle Fletcher comes in the scene and says, "Hey, man, I'm Canadian too, and I just want to let you know you're my idol. So, like, if you ever need any help, I got you, dog. I'll back you up." And
To be
Cope's
honest
like,
with you, I didn't mind that little bit right there, dude. Edge being like trying to act like he's not shook, but then this kid coming in to get the rub and say, "I got your back for everything that you did for Canadian wrestling." I think that's a good move. Like that's a pure thing. It makes Kyle O'Reilly look like a good baby face who respects a legend and says, if you need me, I'm there for you. And now Edge can take half the bumps. Kyle O'Reilly can get the shine for him tagging with him, and then we can run tag matches before we actually have to pay off Edge versus Malachi Black. So in another iteration, we'll get Brody King and maybe we'll get Buddy Matthews, but you might get Aleister Black for to sub in now because who knows how hurt he is. But this is what Edge is here for. That's his value, is to shine other guys, right? Like
"Yeah."
that's so. I thought this was a good use of that backstage.
After that, in his first match since losing the world title, they show Samoa Joe taking on Isaiah Cassidy from Private Party. Cassie grabbed Joe to begin the match, and he started dancing with his towel. But then Joe went after him, threw him in the air. He basically dominated this whole match. Went to the Muscle Buster, poses for the crowd as they cheered, chant his name. Pretty quick match. One thing I noticed, I was watching this, I was like, because I was texting my co-host Dane back and forth, and I was like, is it just me? Does it look like Samoa Joe might have lost like 10 or 20 pounds? He looks like he's lost a little belly fat. So I
He's
was like, good
champ.
for
When
him.
he's champ, he works hard because he knows he's got to carry it, right? And
But I was just saying, I was like, good for Joe. Give him his flowers. I mean, we always crap on Joe, but he lost some weight. Good for him.
yeah, dude. And I was thinking this too. Good on AEW for actually putting it on Joe because right now Samoans are on top in WWE, right?
Right.
And why wouldn't and do it across the board? I'm surprised they don't flex that a little bit more and be like Samoans are dominating wrestling in 2024, whether it's WWE or here in AEW, and get Joe over with that bloodline rub, just referring to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's fucking value there, dude. Absolutely in playing that card. But shout out to this kid gets to fight the champ. But they billboarded this kid as like a hard worker and a threat on the way down. And this whole match was comedy where he fucking throws him in the air and he screams, does the woman scream or whatever, and does the dive, and Joe walks away. And then the kid gets muscle busted and he's trying to sell and oversell, but he comes down all flashy Montez Ford fucking style with a big puffy fucking vest on. And in Chicago, all that shots, like all those marks play into that. In Winnipeg, that shit didn't play at all, dude. He's standing there in all his hip hop gear, shots. There's a bunch of hockey fans going, "Get the fuck in the ring, eh?"
I think this guy wants some most in there, huh? Maybe we should get him a pint, huh?
Yeah. So hey, when you got your gimmick, you got to go out and work it and stick to it. So I respect the kid for that, even if it's fucking crickets, which is a terrible feeling. But the Canadian crowd, sometimes they're with stuff, but when they're down, you really gotta like help them fire up. You know what I mean? Like it's just different working there. It just really is. But yeah, this match was what it was. The announcers went from putting the kid over to ribbon because they put him over so strong, and then he looked like not a goof, but it's a comedy match.
Right. Well, I mean, after that, next match of the night, we had Chris Jericho taking on Katsuyori Shibata, defending the AEW FTW Championship from the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho. But before we get there, we had Orange Cassidy come out. Orange Cassidy said he was told Chuck Taylor would never be able to wrestle again following Trent Beretta's attack on him. He was about to threaten Beretta when he showed up. Security kind of breaks it all up. However, as the security is breaking it all up, Don Callis comes out and says something to Cassidy before leading him backstage. So there was a couple things. I was like, well, I don't mind them putting Cassidy with Callis. That was an interesting.
That was interesting. Yeah, I thought that was interesting too.
It was an interesting wrinkle, but the placement of it after Trent Beretta is clearly turning heel, but now we're gonna take Orange Cassidy, who's the babyface, and we're gonna put him over here with this heel guy. So I just thought that was weird timing of it all.
Yeah, and Rocky Romero is gonna do a bit backstage where he says he's done talking to him. So and Orange says that Chuck P can't wrestle no more, right? Like
that's the story, right? He's out of action. He's retired. He can no longer wrestle, right?
Okay, so all these have a lot of there's 5 interesting parts in this, right? Of what it is, and that's good, but it's also a problem because we can't focus on any one of them specifically, which is all right if the scene is split up that way and designed that way, which this was. But that steals Chuck P's moment. So that was weird of why he wouldn't be there to do that. And I wanted to see Trent, instead of do this at the end, do it upside down, right?
Right.
I was like, oh, we missed there. But I thought Trent was awesome in this. And that's why I said it a couple weeks back. I was like, this guy's got advanced skills. He's been in FCW, NXT, on TV, at WWE, and if there's a breakout guy, it's him. I just hope that people stop giving him fucking Death Valley drivers on the apron and shit on his repaired neck, and it shows you that with storyline, that's all you need. You don't need to take no bumps, right?
Yeah.
So I like this for what it was. The Statlander walkout was strange to calm it down, and then the Callis thing was interesting too. But we're gonna have Kenny Omega later come out and say what? I may be retiring. I may be all done. Da da da. So now we have the same, even though Chuck isn't there to do it, we've done this spot already earlier on the show. So later it's going to mean less.
Right.
And what happened in the same fucking segment earlier in the show happens. Runouts, violence. This is the note for this show is the repetition in the agenting and the repetition in the storyline telling. Can't have 2 I'm going to retire storylines on one show.
I don't know. I mean,
so then, and we'll get to it. So coming up is Claudio and Brian Cage, and then right after is Serena versus
Mariah May. We still have the Jericho match.
And Jericho too, right? But those two both end with a sharpshooter and a fucking single leg crab where she throws a towel in, back to back. If we had them at ends of the show, maybe it'd be better, but back to back, we're doing the same finish in the same segment, much like we're doing 2 retirement angles on that. And we need to look and see where things are placed because a finish can be easily changed and still mean the same thing.
Well, the next matchup was Jericho versus Shibata. I popped really hard just for the beginning of the match with Taz losing his shit. Nobody told me he was going to put that sticker on the belt. Just him going off for a minute about it.
Well, I like it. I like Taz, and this was believable of trying to be professional. What do you want me to do? You want me to swear? What do you want me to tell you? I hate this guy. After what happened.
Nobody told me he was going to put that goddamn sticker on the belt now that we're putting on TV.
this whole thing is Taz's idea, I believe, and he does a good job of being the player, the emotion in this, where I love the new learning tree shit, to be honest with you. I'm been a Jericho fan, for a long, his entire career, really, since ECW.
The only thing I didn't like about this match, and I literally had a conversation with somebody, was let's sit down in the middle of the ring and hit each other with kendo sticks. That was stupid.
That's goofy, but
and I do like the fact that
this whole match is goofy.
I do like the fact that Shibata finally didn't sell for the stupid kendo stick spot in the trash can, because you already got the trash can on. How is hitting me with the kendo stick going to hurt? So I like that he didn't sell for that. I thought that was a good spot.
Yeah, it was goofy shit, Japan shit in here, but even Shivani said it. This is entertaining as hell. And it really was. Even though I can say wrong style, dong style, Falcon Zero, fucking Michinoku driver kick out, the garbage can get up spot is a house show spot, but it played well and was funny on TV. I thought it worked. The bag of tacks being a bag of hockey pucks while his pro hockey
I like
dad is there. Yeah, dude, I bet that sucked way worse than people thought.
I was gonna say, dude, I don't care how much wrestling it is, him landing on the hockey pucks and even Jericho chucking one at his face. I was like, dude, that hurts, bro.
Thought he took his tooth out, bro. Fuck yeah, he did. Like, those are the shoot things that fans don't understand. Even wrestlers don't understand. Like, it looks good on paper till you land on, you want to do the fucking Masada spot with the spikes in your head with the fucking let's do it with spaghetti. Okay, guess what? Spaghetti hurts just as fucking bad and will cut you up. I learned the hard way on that one. So like, there's things that look good, you're like, yeah, that'll be fine, and no, it ain't fine. It sucked. It was way stupid. I'm never taking bumps on hockey pucks again. But these motherfuckers chopped each other for 3.5 minutes straight, bro. Like, hard. And old boys chops from Japan were serious. Jericho's seemed super weak and safe most of the time. But shit, dude, I can't explain this to you. Like, even taking 2 or 3 chops, like good ones, the next day you'll be blood blistered up. And when that water hits you in the shower, it burns and it crackles and it just stings so bad. That's after like 3 or 4 good ones. They did it all the way through picture in picture for 2.5 minutes.
I know. It was crazy.
Yeah. Like today, the regret they probably both have when they got in the shower, dude, and how their chest feels the next 4 days. This is where fans don't understand the true sacrifice. And I tell this to my students, this is Rip Rogers. The chop sells the punch. What does that mean? It means in this business, you need to be able to take an acceptable level of violence to sell the phony violence. So you stand in there and take a chop. Sure, there's ways to make it pop a little bit more in the way you cup your hand, or where you're hitting on the chest should be above the nipple, below the collarbone, right? Especially if the guy's standing there letting you fucking tee off on him. Shouldn't be hitting him in the throat or the nipple, which is brutal. But that chop, so when we go to fake punch, people believe it because the chop is real. The chop is 100% real. It's just how hard you lay it in. And as you are doing a 3-minute chop spot, they keep going up and up and up and up and up and up, right? So there wasn't a lot of punch in this afterwards. This is just let's chop each other, and that comes with a week's worth of pain consequences, bro. Like, to even wear a shirt is fucking brutal.
Bobo asked a good question. Would you say that a chop after sting is similar to a tattoo, like a tattoo healing?
Yeah, but a healing tattoo, you're not fucking, somebody's not coming up and going, slapping the motherfucker, dude. And that's what it feels like. It really feels like not a healing tattoo, but really that cigarette burn cat scratch feeling. You have that for 4 days constantly after what they just did. They're gonna have green and purple and red broken blood vessels. How about when they tuned up? And this was a terrible thing. Remember when they tuned up Chris Van Vliet at fucking
at their
dude?
school, yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like pain. That's real pain. But like it is similar to that tattoo feeling. But man, fans don't know what those guys gave them last night. Really.
Following the match itself, just to wrap it up, Jericho does and match ends with Big Bill showing up, attacking Shibata, putting him through a table, and then Jericho picks up the win. It ends with Big Bill motioning to him from the ramp, and Jericho agreeing. Okay, this is also the first time Jericho had worn trunks in a while.
I love the Jericho coming down with the big fake smile, baby face. Yeah, hi, yes, you too. Like that shit is great, dude. Chris can reinvent himself every 6 months into something completely different, but with that same similar smugness to it.
Right. Well, following this, Claudio Castagnoli taking on Brian Cage. It starts with as Claudio's making his way down to the ring. I prepared a video package of him getting.
Sorry, before we go on, I got Don Stevens was on her game last night. While they're sitting there doing the kendo stick shit, she's over there behind them. Oh, like covering her eyes, shielding herself from watching the match that she's supposed to be refereeing.
Scary.
She feared for her life, probably.
She was upset. She didn't know where to go.
Donnie.
Good old Donnie. Well, yes, I'm sorry. Claudio O'Brien, next. Claudio, there's a nice video package of him as he's loading his car and talking about himself. And then he gets into the ring. He takes on Brian Cage. Castagnoli defeats Brian Cage after they go back and forth. Not too many high-flying stuff from Brian Cage, so he had a better match working with Claudio. And it ends, as you mentioned, with a sharpshooter, and Claudio picks up the victory. I don't know. Did you? This is just me. Obviously, for the nerd in me, Brian Cage's gear did it look like it referenced the X-Men '97 cartoon, which makes sense as that's out right now. But that's all I have notable information for you on this match. What'd you think about this match?
Yeah, that's on brand. Because he wants to be Wolverine. That's his whole look, right? Except Wolverine and a Hulk. they're their kid. Yeah, dude. I mean, I see so much money on Brian Cage, but these extended singles matches is not the way to go. It's him and Hobbs in a tag team and being fucking Legion of Doom or the new APA, really. They're fucking brick shit houses, both of them. They should be squashing guys in 2 fucking minutes. They should be on an unstoppable run together and be your new Legion of Doom. And a guy like Claudio, I think, looks at a guy like Brian Cage and goes, this guy's never gotten over. Let me get him over and help. And this was a different Brian Cage match. However, there's a lot of sometimes styles don't line up no matter how good the workers are. You know what I mean? There's a lot of duck one stuff, or like they're in a hole and then the guy just runs off the ropes. Like nobody shoots anybody off. Like they're like, why just have momentum and go off the ropes right now to come back and duck a phony clothesline to get in the spot? A lot of the missed strikes just looked really not that great. So
do you? I don't want to.
Both these guys got money right now on them, so you know what I mean. It's just the chemistry just wasn't there in this match.
Do you think that Brian Cage at this point needs to go away for a little bit and come back? Maybe needs to be repackaged, because I feel like, and this is no knock on, I get it's phony wrestling, everything's made up or whatever, but I feel like since he took that pinfall from Tessa Blanchard years ago, his credibility went down. And if we parallel it to the guy Eli Drake, now known as LA Knight, who refused to take that pinfall, and we parallel their careers of one guy who took the pinfall from Tessa, one guy who didn't, it feels like to me Brian Cage probably shouldn't have laid down for Tessa Blanchard.
Oh, he definitely shouldn't have. That was making a rib of wrestling. But it's more than that with Brian Cage. He has continuously for years
not worked his gimmick,
not worked the size that he should, that makes him special on the show. because he would rather get his shit in like he's Rey Mysterio. And then when a luchador on the show does the same spot, it means nothing because I just saw a guy the size of the fucking Hindenburg do the same exact thing. So that's really the problem, to be honest with you. And them taking losses isn't a problem because you could use that to drive the story to where I want it to go. Whereas if you have him pissed about that, tearing up the backstage area, and you did the same thing to Hobbs in a parallel story, and Hobbs is tearing up the backstage area like two Tasmanian devils, and then they go to grab the microwave. Who's going to throw it through the window? I am. No, I am. Like, and fucking that's where they meet to become the new mega powers together, whatever. You know what I mean? And like, we're not going to take it anymore type tag team. And they just start running through dudes. And no matter what, they do exactly what the agent tells them to do, which should be.
I'm not going to sit back and take this fucking shit.
I'm sorry. Is every Powers of Pain and Legion of Doom and Demolition squash match. They should do nothing but those.
We haven't heard from Tony in a while. Hope he's okay. He's down in Jacksonville. Maybe you could put in a call this week. Maybe we can get a medical update for next week.
Yeah, I'll see what I can find out.
I hope he's okay. He's working from home. Neck's probably hurting.
Definitely is.
So next match, final match before we get to the Kenny Omega stuff was our main event. Mariah May taking on Serena Deeb, with Serena Deeb being penciled in if she wins this match to take on Toni Storm. This was a good match. My only complaint was they just didn't do any gimmick stuff with Toni. Didn't give her any black and white images. Yeah. She just came out, was in color the whole time. Even after the match, after the dissension between the two parallels looking back and forth, we didn't get any black and white cut there. That was my only. They didn't play the game tonight with Toni
Was she
Storm.
just wearing a teddy with a thong? Because they half shot her ass, and I was like, dude, is she just out there with her ass out? I was like, God damn, these fucking Winnipeg fans getting their money's worth, son. From the Canadian Ballet. But yeah, dude, there's no production, but I didn't mind it because
the focus was on Deeb and May or whatever.
Yeah, and she dressed to look like she was in her own world. So she committed, even though the spin out world wasn't that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I get what you're saying, but I think the choice to not here was an okay one. Obviously, I'm invested in everything Serena does because I want the best for her, and I love her, return here. Her confidence is great.
I think what's cool about knowing you, of course, and the Hami Media Group and everything. It's just when she comes out, you can see little things that I know you've influenced her on, as far as her. And after watching your entrance and whatnot, and what you do, I'm like, oh, I can get it a little bit more now. What Deeb's doing in her entrance, I can see the little idiosyncrasies she's picked up from Ben Hameen or whatnot. Or Ben Hameen's like, you gotta do this.
Is get yourself a flag. That's what you gotta do.
Get a flag and
get a fucking flag.
Wear a giant fucking outfit.
I appreciate that, and I always try and give her any creative notes I can when she asks for them. But it's not that Ben Hameen influences that we're both trained by Rip Rogers and Al Snow, and when you understand this shit, you're gonna do it a certain way, and you're gonna stand out from those who didn't have that. Some people would say the Harvard of professional wrestling, OVW, has been referred to as that, and that's just comes with it. And Deeb's was a coach at NXT for 5 years, so she's just reinforced all these lessons into her game.
You mentioned Deeb wins this match with, of course, a single leg as well, right?
Yeah.
After she gets Mariah May to tap out. Your thoughts on the match itself and this being the main event, wrestling-wise?
I don't think they needed to go as long as they did because they went through a commercial break too. There was one point where Deeb's on the top rope, Mariah May chops her and misses and fucking hits her in the mouth and then in the throat. A bad chop, But there's a lot of things. I know Deeb was hot about it. Now that I talked to her, I could see on camera, I could see shit got a little fucking snug for both of them after that. This is a hard-hitting match, and aside from one or two little things like that can happen, especially in a long match, there was a lot of good, fun, technical stuff in here, like how Deeb does the rolling backslide to make him dizzy, and Taz quantifies it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
like old school shit that you're not going to see because fucking these indie guys don't study tape or even know where to take from to reinvent shit. But Mariah May, I was impressed with a lot of her strikes and timing. I expect, not expect, but based on all the Johnny Ace hires I've seen throughout the years, just another Victoria's Secret model who doesn't have good footwork or even understand what the fuck they're doing in the ring. I think Mariah May definitely knows what she's doing in the ring. She may have some Japanese wrong style, dong style stuff that doesn't make sense psychologically to me. Like she's doing, like here's the example. She gives her a fucking super spinning black hole slam that looked better than almost anything else in the match. Kick out. Why would you bury that? Right after she gives her the fucking sock hop fucking slam, side slam that way too, right? The swing dance side slam or whatever the fuck it is. Kick out. Like these are big things, big moves that shouldn't be buried. You can tease that violence and find interesting ways to get out of them instead of taking it and burying your shit.
I should correct myself. Mariah May didn't tap. That's right. Tony threw the
Tony
towel.
threw the towel.
Yeah,
which was a good finish.
Yeah, and they pull. I mean, they actually did the whole throwing the towel gimmick, right? Because this week on Raw, Kofi was outside the ring while Creed was taking on Gunther, and Kofi didn't throw in the towel in that match. So in this match, they did throw the towel. So.
Yeah, and they were teasing it with Gable too. So this has kind of been a reinvention that could be already overcooked, and I wouldn't do it anymore after this if I was anybody else. But yeah, the one thing that and I'll probably tell Serena this. Serena at the end took her time to jaw jack with Tony, and because that's the big overall feud of this, right? And that's good, and that's where you need. But there was 2 times in the match, especially when Dee was on offense, where she could have taken a moment and turned to Tony and done something back and forth. So there was a lot of good character stuff in this, but when it was just the wrestling, it was the serious wrestling. I always love the dragon screw leg whip. The way she worked it in this match was good.
What did you think of that? What is that? That running knee that May delivered? That was pretty brutal.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of what she did impressed me, man. A lot of her strikes and offense looked very cool, very movie-like, like action movie. Really good stuff. So the problem is, and this is the producers and the booker, we just saw a fucking guy throw a hockey puck in another guy's face while he headbutted him with a garbage can, hit him with a kendo stick, and every other fucking thing before putting through a table. Now you girls go out there and just straight wrestle. You've done everything. How are you supposed to show this crowd anything after they've just seen all this crazy shit? That's a very hard place for performers to get out of. And traditionally in the past, the girls match would be the palate cleanser between that. In this scenario, Claudio and Big Man were the palate cleanser. So I don't know. It's more into the storyline. I'm anxious to see where it's going next.
So this episode of Dynamite ends with Kenny Omega coming out to the ring, and he delivers a quote-unquote emotional promo. He recounts his prognosis from doctors, painting a vivid picture of some of the uncertainties he's faced. Despite his eagerness to step back in the ring, medical advice says that there might be some additional risk of abdominal trauma, which could prove catastrophic to his health. Obviously, if Kenny Omega was in a position where he couldn't get physical, he would not be there tonight. So I think for anyone keeping track at home, I think it's safe to say Kenny Omega is doing somewhat better than what his quote-unquote storyline is leading him to believe, right? However, as he's cutting his promo, Okada comes out, gets in his face. Okada says that he's the best bout machine now, and then Jack Perry attacks him from behind. This culminates with the EVP trigger from the Bucks, and then they're about to go even further attacking him when FTR comes out and saves the day. However, as it was kind of short-lived, as afterwards, we didn't see this part apparently on Rampage though. Afterwards, they were still beating on him, as he was trying to be carried off onto a stretcher as far as leaving the arena. So they kept it going on Rampage because it ended, right? And then it immediately. But Okada and the Bucks attacked FTR as Omega was being taken to an ambulance. They dumped him off the stretcher before finally leaving. So that is how they ended that segment, if you will, rolling into the third hour of wrestling. But as Dynamite went off the air, that's all you watched, the Bucks were raising their hands. So they actually ended on a high note for once, left with some heat. And if you didn't watch Rampage, you're going to be tuning in next week going, what the heck's going to happen? One thing I also forgot to bring up during the night, second week in a row, Jack Perry cut up a decent promo. He's backstage.
Yeah. I was going to say there was a lot of Dylan McKay 90210 in that promo, and I liked it.
Second week in a row, he's being short, concise, and just right to the point.
And that was
one tone. He's not doing wrestling talk. It sounds real.
Dude, did you watch 90210 ever or no?
A little bit. Wasn't a big fan.
So the Dylan McKay character is a very cool, short-spoken
rebel without a cause,
rebel, and he's like wounded and fuck you, I'm out of here. And that's what I felt like in that. I was like, yes. And I've been saying I don't care if we got lockers to go in, so I'll take some bleachers in the back to lean against and say my shit before I stomp off. And I thought that was really good too, Matt. That's a great point. I thought Kenny Omega did a good job at setting up. If I get hit in the stomach, doctors say I could die.
Right.
And then they come out and hit him in the stomach with the chair. That's how you do wrestling. Like it was believable when he was, because it's true. When you're stuck in a scene, you tell the truth about yourself. His doctors definitely said if you get hit in the stomach with this, you could fucking have some type of embolism or whatever and fucking die from it, right? Come out, bink, fucking chair shot down. Instantly, as a human, you have no control over those emotions. You're going to have a reaction to it. And I thought it was really, really good the way they did it. Then it goes from that to exactly what I hate about this style of wrestling. That fucking Japan anime shit where Kenny's got to come up and grab one Buck's fucking arm and grab the other and climb them until they both look down and then look at each other and then look back and grab his arm, and the crowd knows the EVP trigger's coming, and like all this fucking stupid anime Goku bullshit buildup is terrible, bro. You had him, he's down. You go over, you grab him, pick him up, look at each other, call for it, hit it. That's what the fucking real wrestling would do. The rest of that shit is some fucking tape trader, masturbator, Final Fantasy fucking bullshit that always gets mixed into these scenes and takes them from an A level to a C level almost instantly in my mind, bro.
And what's weird, I'm a little nitpicking here, and I get it that they quote unquote fired Kenny Omega from the Elite, but we never really got why, other than their little bit feud with the Jericho thing, right? They had set that up with Omega and Jericho, the Winnipeg Golden Boys or whatever they were calling him, versus the Bucks, and then Kenny got injured. So that's the only information we have as to why they're not friends anymore. Other than that, there really hasn't been a big explanation as to why the Bucks have it out for Omega.
Yeah, and I was thinking, isn't this the space to use Don Callis in instead of the Orange Cassidy walk-off? So did we get max value? I don't know. There's a bunch of choices, and I'm not saying it's a right or a wrong one. I just was like, here's the puzzle pieces, how we put it together. But overall, there was a lot of entertaining stuff on this show, and there's a lot of even ribbing themselves for last week's tech issues. Don't act like that shit didn't happen. Grab it, say yes, and how can we spin it and get something out of it? You know what I mean? And they did. So I salute them. Like I said, I like the Bucks' comedic timing. I want them to heighten and explore and do more with ribbing the business, setting up the marks to go crazy all week, just so the next week they can take that and get something more out of it. There's opportunities there for them to shake the biz.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's your full Light the Fuse review. We're going to get in and out of here because Ben Hameen's got to get back to work. But one thing I did want to end before we end the show, if you guys are looking for some entertainment this morning, head on over to X. The Billy Body, Sean Ross Sapp shit has heated up. Billy Body went in on Sean Ross Sapp for his grandmother dying. So that is now all over X. If you're in, Matt Coon's also getting into it as well with people. So just check out X. We got a bunch of interesting stuff for you to read on the internet today involving all of the wrestling journalists in the world.
They could have had the biggest spot at WrestleMania 40 weekend, and neither of them wanted to stop. They want the spotlight so bad, and when it's handed to them, neither would step up.
Who knows? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for another edition of Light the Fuse. Again, once again, check out channelattitude.com. Sign up, $5 a month. You get the Monday locker room, the Wednesday locker room, the Friday locker room, the Impact Attack with the Striz and the Vet, the Next Level review with the Big Ray and the Vet. You get the Rampage with Jimmy T and the Vet. You get Smack Attack with John Enright and the Vet and Jimmy T. The Collision Crew. Chris Ames is there sometimes. The Pro Wrestling Reflection podcast. Light the Fuse, and so much more. Check it out. Of course, channelattitude.com. You want to sign up for Vince Russo's brand and get, Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Head every week. Castrating the Marks. The Raw and SmackDown review with Ben and Stevie Richards. Or check out Master Shoot Theater on patreon.com/RussoTWC. My name is MSG. You can check out my podcast, SMB, a South Park review each and every week. SMB number 225 will be dropping today. A History Channel Thanksgiving. What happens when the boys figure out that Thanksgiving and aliens are connected? Find out on another edition of SMB, a South Park review. Ben Hameen, what's going on in the world of weed?
Yeah, man, just another big day at Ravens Joint, trying to get that new whip all registered and everything and insured so we can start delivery. And I'm going to meet with some wedding coordinators and some bar promoters and keep making that money, man, selling that smiz. Big shout outs to all the Bearcats out there. And thank you, MSG, as always, for getting up early to light the fuse with me here to break down AEW. And I know you stooges are watching, so shout out Don Stevens and everybody else with a neck brace working the gimmick. It's Hacker Hameen, it's MSG, it's channelattitude.com exclusive. Light the Fuse infidels here, Hameen Media Group. YOLO!
If you're not Caucasian, then leave. Mark Henry. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules around.